I'm an ordinary husband tasked with entertaining my wife Sophia's best friends while she's away on a business trip. But I've unexpectedly gained a superpower to hear people's thoughts. I can clearly hear Victoria internally criticizing my hand-drip coffee as tasting like instant and Mia secretly judging my home's decor as tasteless. I even know in advance that they plan to drag me to luxury boutiques, hoping to test my generosity with a $58,000 handbag. But I never expected that this ability to know what others are thinking would, because of a name Sophia mumbled in her sleep, throw my marriage into utter chaos. Honey, I'm really counting on you. Victoria and Mia rarely visit. So, please take good care of them, Sophia said, hastily stuffing clothes into her suitcase, her face full of apology and helplessness. I patted my chest and said, don't worry, I've got it covered. Focus on your trip. The house is in good hands. Sophia hugged me tightly before grabbing her suitcase and rushing out the door. She left behind a stylish and hurried silhouette and her two best friends sitting in the living room. One was Victoria, tall and dressed in a well-tailored designer suit. Her makeup impeccable, exuding an I'm an elite aura from head to toe. She was Sophia's bunkmate in college and is now a director at a foreign company. The other was Mia, very sweet-looking, wearing a cute puff dress and speaking in a soft, gentle voice like a docile rabbit. She used to sleep in a bunk below Sophia and is now a primary school teacher. To be honest, I'm not very familiar with Sophia's two best friends. I only met them once at our wedding and occasionally heard Sophia mention them afterward. Now, the two of them were sitting on my sofa and I, a big man, was standing in the middle of the living room. The three of us looked at each other, creating a somewhat awkward atmosphere. Victoria, Mia, please sit for a while. I'll go cut some fruit for you, I said, scratching my head, wanting to break the uncomfortable silence. Victoria nodded politely, a polite but distant smile on her lips. Mia smiled sweetly at me. Thank you, Marcus. You're too kind. I fled into the kitchen as if escaping. Honestly, Sophia entrusting me with this task made me secretly happy even though I acted annoyed. Isn't this a great opportunity to show off in front of Sophia? If I take good care of her best friends, she will surely praise me as a caring husband when she returns, right? We got along pretty well on the first night. I ordered high-end seafood takeout, opened Sophia's treasure good wine, and watched a romantic movie they chose with them. Although I yawned throughout the entire thing, I endured and stayed awake, chiming in with a few words from time to time, all to maintain my reliable Goodman image. Victoria and Mia seemed quite satisfied, politely praising me for being considerate and thoughtful and saying that Sophia was lucky to have married me. I was particularly happy to hear this, feeling that I was one step closer to the title of model husband. Until the next morning, I was awakened by a sharp headache, feeling like I had too much to drink the day before, but somehow different. My temples throbbed, my ears buzzed as if 100 bees were buzzing inside. I struggled to get up and went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. I thought about making sandwiches for them and brewing hand-drip coffee for each of them, showcasing my thoughtfulness. Mia, wearing pink cartoon pajamas, rubbed her eyes as she walked out of the guest room. Good morning, Marcus, she said, yawning, her voice soft. Good morning, Mia. Go wash up first. Breakfast will be ready soon, I replied with a smile. The coffee pot in my hand emitting a rich aroma. TSK. What awful coffee. It smells like instant. I don't know how Sophia can tolerate it. She doesn't even have a proper automatic coffee machine. A clear female voice suddenly sounded in my head. My hand trembled and I almost spilled the scalding coffee. Who? Who's talking? I turned around sharply, but I was the only one in the kitchen. Mia had already entered the bathroom and I could hear the sound of running water. Was it a hallucination or the after effects of drinking too much the day before? I shook my dizzy head, attributing the strange voice to not getting enough sleep. I took the sandwiches and coffee to the dining table. At this time, Victoria also tidied herself up and walked out of another guest room. She changed into a silk robe with a very good texture, crossed her arms, and looked at my dining room. Good morning, Marcus. Thank you for your hard work, she said politely. This house is so small and the decor is so tacky. Beige walls with walnut furniture. How tasteless was Sophia thinking back then? She gave up such good opportunities to squeeze into such a small house with such an ordinary man. That voice appeared again. This time the voice was cold and sharp, exactly like Victoria's usual tone, but the content was full of undisguised contempt. My hand holding the plate stopped in midair, and I looked at Victoria in disbelief. She had a perfect smile on her face and was slowly pulling out a chair, moving as elegantly as if she were attending a high-end banquet. She didn't even open her mouth, but that voice was ringing in my head loud and clear. I took a deep breath, put down the plate, and sat across from them as if nothing had happened. Try what I made. Freshly baked bread with New Zealand butter. I tried to keep my voice sounding normal. Mia picked up a sandwich, took a small bite, and her eyes curved into crescents. Wow, so delicious. Marcus, you're amazing. It's even better than what they sell outside. The bread is a bit hard and the ham is too salty. Oh well, it's free breakfast, so I shouldn't complain. I'll post a photo on Moments later and write, having a love-filled breakfast at my best friend's house, being pampered again. So happy. Me. I felt my worldview was being severely shaken. I wasn't hallucinating. I seemed to be able to hear what they were thinking. This realization was like a lightning bolt, leaving me both shocked and confused. I turned stiffly to look at Victoria, who was slowly cutting her sandwich with a knife and fork. Victoria, what do you think of the taste? I asked tentatively. She wiped her mouth with a napkin and said elegantly, very good. Marcus's skills are almost as good as a Michelin chef. Is this man stupid? When did Michelin start selling sandwiches? Doesn't have an ounce of common sense. And this egg is fried too old. Like rubber. Sophia is hopeless. She didn't even find a husband who knows how to cook. I silently picked up my own sandwich and took a big bite. Yeah, it really tasted like chewing rubber. Okay. Looking at the two women opposite me whose words and thoughts were at odds and remembering Sophia's repeated instructions before she left last night, as well as my foolish idea of showing off, I suddenly felt that this weekend might not be as happy and unforgettable as I thought it would be. It might be very, very exciting. I lower my head. The corners of my mouth involuntarily turned upward. Happy? No. This feeling is what true happiness is. Breakfast ended in a strange atmosphere. They kept praising me at the table, calling me a new age goodman and saying, Sophia is so lucky, which gave me goosebumps. And my brain was like it had a real-time commentary system installed, synchronizing with their most truthful inner thoughts. This guy's smile is so stupid, from Mia. Does he really believe we're praising him? He's so naive, from Victoria. I drank the cup of instant-flavored hand-drip coffee that Mia had mentally disliked countless times, maintaining a simple and honest smile on my face. Okay, you guys keep acting. I want to see how long you can keep it up. After breakfast, Victoria suggested, since we're free anyway, why don't we go shopping? Marcus, how about you come with us? We can pick out an anniversary gift for you and Sophia. She said it so thoughtfully, seemingly considering our couple while naturally including me in their activities. Mia immediately clapped her hands in agreement. Great idea. I know of a newly opened shopping mall that's especially good to browse. Perfect. He can be our driver and bag carrier. Mia's inner thoughts were very direct, filled with the idea of using me as free labor. Good opportunity to observe his spending habits. If he's reluctant to buy Sophia a decent gift, then this man really isn't worth much. Victoria's mind was full of scrutiny and calculation. I sneered inwardly. Here it comes. The legendary best friend test. Yesterday, I might have been nervous, afraid of not performing well and embarrassing Sophia. But now. Okay, I readily agreed. I also have something I want to buy. Let's go. Let's take my car. Victoria and Mia exchanged glances, a hint of smugness flashing in their eyes. When they saw my car in the underground garage, the expressions on their faces suddenly became a little strange. I drive a domestic electric SUV, which costs less than $200,000 when I bought it. And I usually use it for commuting to work and occasionally buying groceries. Marcus, this car is quite environmentally friendly. Huh. Mia said after holding it in for a long time. Oh my God, this junk car. What is Sophia thinking? She used to only ride in Mercedes-Benz and BMWs. Victoria didn't say anything, but she disdainfully dusted the car door handle with her fingertips as if there were invisible specks of dust on it. Doesn't even have a decent car. I don't know how he has the courage to marry Sophia. Her previous boyfriends all drove luxury cars worth millions. I pretended not to see their expressions and enthusiastically opened the car door for them. Get in. Don't be fooled by my car being cheap. It's spacious and comfortable to sit in. Along the way, the two ladies in the back seat chatted about celebrity gossip and the latest fashion trends, but their minds never stopped for a moment. Why is this road so congested? Does he not know the way? He can't even follow the navigation properly. The suspension of this car is terrible. It's bumping me to death. What kind of music is he playing in his car? It's so outdated. I didn't show any unusual expression on my face and follow the navigation to drive the car into the underground parking lot of the new shopping mall that Mia mentioned. There were luxury cars everywhere here, and my car looked particularly ordinary parked among Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Audi vehicles. All right, let's go upstairs, I said, unfastening my seat belt. After parking, Victoria and Mia didn't say a word. They quickly pushed open the car door and got out, as if staying for another second would be unbearable. The mall was large and luxuriously decorated. The first floor was full of luxury stores with various brand logos I couldn't name shining brightly under the lights. Victoria obviously came here often and skillfully led us forward, finally stopping in front of a store with a logo of two interlocking CS. Let's go in and take a look, she said, walking into the store first. Mia followed her in, and I had no choice but to follow suit. The store clerk saw Victoria and immediately greeted her enthusiastically. Director Victoria, you're here? Yeah. Just looking around, Victoria replied indifferently with a strong aura. She picked up a black leather bag that looked very ordinary and handed it to me. Marcus, what do you think of this bag? Sophia would definitely look good carrying it. I glanced at the price tag and my eyelids twitched. 58,000, that's my salary for a month. It's very nice, I managed to say. Yeah, just as I thought. His face turned white as soon as he saw the price. He's just got no guts. Victoria's mind was full of contempt. Mia chimed in softly from the side. Yes, this is the latest model this year. Sophia will be especially happy if she receives this gift. Buy it. Let him spend more money. It'll be hilarious to see how much it hurts him. A little devil was reveling in Mia's mind. I watched them coordinate their words and suddenly felt a little amused. They thought they had planned everything perfectly and were testing me. Little did they know, I'd already seen through their intentions and was watching them act like I had a god's eye view. I put the 58,000 bag back in its place, then turned and walked towards another row of shelves. Victoria's eyes immediately followed with a hint of I knew you couldn't afford understanding. I picked up a small brooch from the shelf shaped like a delicate camellia and laid with tiny diamonds and shining softly under the lights. I think this is more suitable for Sophia, I said, holding the brooch in my palm and presenting it to them. Victoria glanced at it and was just about to open her mouth to ridicule it. A broken brooch couldn't possibly be. Her inner thoughts suddenly stopped because she saw the small price tag next to the brooch. 62,000, 2,000 more expensive than the bag just now. Victoria's expression suddenly froze. She opened her mouth as if to say something but couldn't utter a word. Mia also came closer to take a look and then gasped. Oh my God, this little thing is more expensive than the bag. Is he crazy? I smiled slightly, looked at Victoria, and said in a particularly sincere tone, Sophia usually wears business attire, and this brooch will make the overall look more eye-catching, making her look both professional and feminine. The bag is nice, but it's too big and doesn't suit her style. Every word I said hit Victoria right where it hurt, because I had just clearly heard her thinking, this bag is actually a bit old-fashioned, and Sophia is not tall enough to pull it off, but it's perfect for testing him. Now I turned her inner thoughts into my brilliant insights. Victoria's face turned green and white as if she had been slapped in the face in public. She couldn't understand how I, who was so rustic and tasteless in her eyes, could say such professional things. She never expected that I could hear her inner thoughts and directly steal the words she wanted to say. Wrap this up, I said, handing the brooch to the clerk next to me, who was already stunned, and then took out my phone, swiped my card. Amidst the clerk's flattering remarks of, "Sir, you have excellent taste. Your wife will definitely love it," I accepted the beautifully packaged gift box with a smile. Victoria and Mia stood there looking as uncomfortable as if they had swallowed flies. Their meticulously planned spending habits test ended in a way they had never expected, and I had easily defused it. In fact, I had even turned the tables and made them eat their words. Carrying the small but heavy gift bag, I said to them in a good mood, "Let's go." "Where to next?" "I'll pay today." "That's weird. What's wrong with this man? Did he hide some private money?" "No. Sophia said his salary card is with her." Listening to their chaotic and surprised inner thoughts, the smile on my face became even brighter. The game has only just begun. Having left the luxury store, both Victoria and Mia seemed much more subdued. Victoria, in particular, was silent the entire way. Her brows furrowed, her eyes filled with doubt and resentment. Impossible. He's just a project manager of a regular company. His salary at most $20,000 a month. How could he spend over $60,000 without batting an eye? Did Sophia give him a supplementary card? No. Sophia is not the type to do that. Could it be? Did he win a lottery? Victoria's mind raced, going from suspecting I was hiding money to suspecting I was being kept by a rich woman, but never guessing the truth. Mia, on the other hand, was calculating something else. He bought a brooch for over $60,000 without hesitation. Does that mean I can order that Japanese all-you-can-eat I've always wanted to try but thought was too expensive? A true foodie indeed. I pretended nothing was amiss and continued to lead them around the mall. "Victoria, Mia, is there anything you want to buy? It's a rare trip. Don't hold back," I said generously. Victoria glanced at me. Her expression complex. Acting all rich. "I want to see how long you can keep it up." That's what she thought. But her feet turned towards an upscale women's clothing store. "I'll just take a look," she told the approaching sales assistant. Then she started picking out clothes as if venting her anger. "This trench coat, get my size, wrap up this dress, too, and those high heels." She picked only the expensive ones, and soon the assistant's arms were laden with clothes. She didn't even look at me as if I were an invisible follower. Mia's eyes widened at the sight. "Wow, Victoria is amazing. These clothes must add up to almost 100,000, right? Is she trying to get Marcus to spend all his money?" I stood there, my face still wearing a gentle, even slightly foolish smile. When Victoria had finally finished selecting, she turned around as if just remembering I was there and said with a hint of provocative laughter, "Marcus, I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. I bought a little too much. Let's see how you handle this. Go ahead and swipe your card again if you dare. Let's see if you have any money left in your account." Her heart was filled with malice and anticipation. I nodded, walked forward, took the large pile of clothes from the assistant, and then hung them back on the racks one by one. Victoria's smile froze on her face. The sales assistant also looked surprised. "Huh? Out of money, are we?" I knew it. "You can't keep up the act anymore," Victoria mentally shouted in victory. I hung up the last item of clothing, then turned around and pulled out a plain gray cashmere sweater from the pile. "Victoria, you have great taste. You picked out some really beautiful things." I compliment her first, then change the subject. "But I think all of these clothes pale in comparison to what you're wearing." I point to her current low-key black suit. "This outfit, whether it's the fabric, the cut, or the design, is clearly top-notch. Most people can't pull it off. Only someone with your aura can handle it." I paused, looked at her, and said sincerely, "So those flashy clothes will only lower your standards. But this cashmere sweater," I shook the gray sweater in my hand, "is simple, soft, and has a sense of quality. It goes perfectly with your platinum necklace, balancing out the strong feeling you give off and making you look more approachable, more feminine." Victoria was completely dumbfounded. She stared at me with her mouth open as if she were looking at an alien. Because everything I had just said was like I'd taken it straight from her brain. When she was frantically choosing clothes, I had clearly heard her inner thoughts, trying to discuss them with these clothes that don't suit me at all. Honestly, the taste in this store is getting worse and worse. There's nothing worth looking at. Only this cashmere sweater has decent texture, but the color is too dark. I not only heard her thoughts, but I also helped her refine them, pointing out that this cashmere sweater can be paired with a platinum necklace. This was a point she hadn't even thought of herself. Knowing what others don't know is the most powerful weapon. She thought she was setting a trap to test me. But she didn't know that I had already seen through her intentions and then refuted her own behavior with her own logic. It was like throwing a punch and hitting cotton. And then that cotton turned around and gently hugged you in a way that you were most familiar with and couldn't refute. It was both stifling and powerless. How do you know? Victoria's lips trembled, unable to utter a complete sentence. How does he know my necklace is platinum? How does he know I dislike these clothes? Who exactly is he? Her mind was in complete chaos. I smiled slightly and handed the 12,000 yuan cashmere sweater to the assistant. Just this one, please wrap it up. Then I looked at Victoria, who was still in shock, and said gently, Victoria, buying things isn't about what's most expensive. It's about what suits you best. Don't you agree? This was what she usually said to educate new employees at the company. Now, I returned it to her verbatim. Victoria's face instantly turned liver-colored. In the end, Victoria was dejectedly persuaded by me and only bought the cashmere sweater that she also thought was okay. As for Mia, after watching the entire process, her desire to go to the Japanese all-you-can-eat had quietly transformed into the street county snacks downstairs seemed pretty good, too. This man is too scary. It's like he can read minds. In front of him, Victoria is like a naked clown. Mia's thoughts almost made me burst out laughing. Girl, you're right. After the two encounters in the luxury store and the women's clothing store, the atmosphere between the three of us became very strange. Victoria's gaze towards me had changed from disdain and scrutiny to fear and dread, mixed with a hint of incomprehensible annoyance. Mia, on the other hand, was like a startled rabbit, following behind me the whole time, not daring to say a word, afraid that her own little thoughts would be seen through by me. As for me, I was enjoying the peace and quiet. It turned out that knowing what others don't know was such a great thing. We ended up eating lunch at an elegant Chinese restaurant. I ordered a few light signature dishes, the price was moderate, and the taste was good. During the meal, no one spoke, only the faint sound of bowls and chopsticks colliding. I ate heartily, but Victoria and Mia ate without savoring the flavors. What's going on with him? Could Sophia have told him all my likes and dislikes and what I usually say? Impossible. Sophia is not that kind of person. This fish is steamed nicely. It would be better with more ginger. No, I can't think about it. What if he knows again? Don't look. Don't listen. I almost spat out the food in my mouth, listening to them, thinking this and thinking that. To break the awkward atmosphere, I spoke up. Any plans for the afternoon? How about I take you to see a movie? No need. Let's go back and rest. Victoria and Mia spoke almost in unison. I need to go back quickly and call Sophia to ask what the situation is with this man. I never want to be alone with him again. It's too oppressive. I want to go home. It seemed my superpower had frightened them quite a bit. Well, it saved me the trouble of having to deal with them. Back at the house, Victoria and Mia immediately used being tired from shopping as an excuse to retreat to their respective rooms. I could clearly hear Victoria making a low-voice phone call from her room. I leisurely sat on the living room sofa, turned on the TV, pretending to watch the news. But in reality, all my attention was focused on Victoria's inner thoughts. Hey, Sophia, your husband. He's a bit off. No, I don't mean he's not good to me. He's too good to us. Too good. It's a bit scary. He seems to know everything. Knows what I like, what I don't like. Even knows what I'm thinking. Yes, it's like he can read minds. I want to test him today, but he played me around. Let me tell you, he's definitely not as honest and simple as you say. I could imagine Sophia looking confused on the other end of the phone. Sure enough, Victoria's inner thoughts quickly became more anxious. What? You say he's just an ordinary person. Tell me not to overthink. What do you mean he might just be more observant? Sophia, you don't understand, man. This definitely can't be explained by observation. Today he spent over 60,000 on a brooch for you without batting an eye. There seemed to be silence on the other end of the phone. You don't know where he got so much money either. I knew it. Sophia, listen to me. You have to be careful of this man. He's definitely hiding something from you. Maybe he's doing something he can't let anyone know about outside. I frowned when I heard this. I had only want to tease them and watch them get humiliated for fun. But now, Victoria was actually starting to sow discord between me and Sophia. This was a bit much. After hanging up the phone, Victoria paced around her room anxiously. Since just talking is useless, then I'll find some concrete evidence. He's an ordinary man, suddenly becoming so rich, so understanding of women's hearts. There must be a problem behind it. I don't believe I can't find any clues. She was planning to search my house. A cold smile appeared on my lips. All right, you want to play? I'll play with you to the end. Just then, my phone rang. It was Sophia calling. I answered the phone, my tone as usual. Hey honey, finished with work? Not yet. Sophia's voice sounded a little tired. With a hint of worry, Marcus, did you have an unpleasant time with Victoria and the others? No, we got along pretty well. Just got back from shopping together. I even bought you a gift, I said with a smile. Gift? What gift? A brooch. Your favorite brand. The camellia flower style. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a few seconds. Then Sophia's voice rose an octave. You bought that one. That costs over 60,000. Where did you get so much money? Here it comes. The crucial first point of conflict, I said calmly. It's just the money I usually save in my private stash. When did you save so much money in your private stash? How come I don't know? Sophia's voice was full of suspicion. I sighed and began to say what I had long prepared. Honey, listen to me. I know your two best friends, especially Victoria, have always felt that you wronged yourself by marrying me. They think I'm not good enough for you and can't give you a good life. Today they took me shopping and were probing me, trying to see me make a fool of myself so they could look down on me and look down on your choice. I bought that brooch not to show off and not because I have too much money to spend. I just wanted to tell them that maybe I can't give you the most luxurious material life right now, but I'm willing to give you everything I have. I don't want you to feel embarrassed in front of your friends because of me. Money can be earned again, but my wife's face can't be lost. I spoke these words with great sincerity, making them very touching. Of course, 90% of it was acting, but the 10% of sincerity was real. On the other end of the phone, Sophia was completely silent. After a long time, I heard her say with a heavy nasal tone, "Husband, I'm sorry." "Silly girl, what are you apologizing for?" I said gently. "All right, focus on your work. Don't worry about things at home. I can handle it." After hanging up the phone, I breathed a long sigh of relief. The first hurdle was passed, but Victoria clearly wouldn't give up there. I heard rustling sounds coming from her room. And then her inner thoughts rang out again. Since just talking is useless, then I'll go find some real evidence. He's an ordinary man suddenly becoming so rich, so understanding of women's hearts, there must be a problem behind it. I don't believe I can't find any clues. She was planning to search my house. The corners of my mouth curled up into a cold smile. Fine. You want to play? I'll play with you to the end. Victoria acted faster than I thought. While I was in the kitchen preparing dinner, she snuck into my study like a female secret agent. Mia was stationed in the living room as a lookout. Sister Victoria is way too bold. It would be so awkward if she got caught. Mia sat on the sofa, her body stiff, her hand almost crushing the remote control. I chopped vegetables while listening amusedly to the commotion in the study. Computer password. Sophia's birthday. Wrong. Wedding anniversary. Wrong again. His birthday still wrong. Victoria was pacing anxiously in front of my computer. I was secretly delighted. My password was the 30 digits after the decimal point of pi. Not even Sophia could crack it, let alone her. Unable to unlock the computer, Victoria started rummaging around. Drawer locked. Filing cabinet also locked. Damn it. So guarded. There must be something suspicious. I kept all important documents and personal items in locked cabinets. It was just a personal habit, but I didn't expect it to come in handy today. Finding nothing, Victoria finally turned her attention to the bookshelf. A bunch of junk books. Project management from beginner to expert. Code complete. What a boring engineer. She flipped through them impatiently when suddenly she stopped. Wait, what's this? My heart skipped a beat. Besides professional books, the bookshelf was mostly filled with old books and odds and ends I picked up. What could have caught her attention? A photo album. I immediately remembered. It was all the photos of Sophia and me from dating to marriage, which I had personally put together because there was no place to store it when we moved. I had temporarily stuffed it in a corner of the bookshelf. Let me see if I can find any clues. Victoria opened the album, her thoughts churning. This is them in college. Sophia smiling so stupidly. This guy looks even more country than he does now. This one is them at the beach. TSK. Average figure. She flipped through page after page making disapproving TSK sounds. Suddenly her thoughts became sharp. This is Derek. How is he with Sophia? Derek. The name sounded familiar. A light bulb went off in my head. Today at the mall, Victoria's thoughts mentioned that Sophia's previous boyfriends all drove luxury cars. And this Derek, he seemed to be the most powerful of them. In this photo, Derek has his arm around Sophia's shoulder, smiling so happily. They were together back then. Impossible. Derek clearly said he liked me. He said he only treated Sophia like a sister. The kitchen knife I was holding clattered onto the cutting board. Whoa, that's a lot of information. I always thought Victoria was simply jealous that Sophia hadn't married as well as she had expected. So, she wanted to prove that Sophia's choice was wrong. Now, it seemed the root cause was a past love triangle triggered by an old photo album had unexpectedly begun in my study. So, that's how it is. So, Sophia has been lying to me all along. She stole my men and then acted innocent in front of me. Victoria's mind was filled with betrayed, anger, and resentment. Her emotions so intense that her breathing became heavy, she stared intently at the photo, her fingernails almost digging into the photo paper. Derek rejected me for her back then, and now she's married to some guy who came out of nowhere. And she's so happy. Why? Jealousy was the real reason. I finally understood. The root of all of Victoria's actions towards me today wasn't me, but Sophia. She didn't want to prove that I wasn't good enough for Sophia, but that Sophia didn't deserve to be happy because she felt that Sophia's happiness was built on her pain. I'm going to ruin her. I'm going to ruin her happiness. The thought emerged from the bottom of Victoria's heart like a poisonous snake. I felt a chill. This was no longer just a harmless spat between best friends. This was naked malice. Just then, the study door was suddenly pushed open. It was Mia. Victoria. Something bad. Marcus, he seems to be coming over, she shouted in a panic. Victoria suddenly snapped out of it, frantically trying to put the album back in place. But because she was too flustered, the album wasn't placed securely and fell to the ground with a thud. The page that fell open was the one with Derek and Sophia. I walked slowly into the study carrying a plate of cut fruit. What are you guys doing? I asked with a pure and innocent smile. Looking at the two panicked women in the room and the open album on the floor, the atmosphere instantly dropped to freezing. We just thought Marcus's study was very special, so we came to take a look, Mia stammered, her eyes darting around, not daring to look at me. I'm done for. I'm done for. We've been caught. Will he think we're thieves? Victoria, on the other hand, quickly regained her composure. She bent down and slowly picked up the photo album from the ground, patted off the dust, and her face showed no emotion. Sorry, Marcus. I accidentally dropped your things. She handed the album to me. Her tone was calm as if the resentful woman with so many thoughts in her head wasn't her. Calm. Must stay calm. He doesn't know anything. I just accidentally knocked over the photo album. I took the album, my eyes falling on the open page. In the photo, a young Sophia was standing next to a handsome boy smiling happily. The boy named Derek. He had one hand on Sophia's shoulder, his posture intimate. Oh, this. I chuckled and closed the album, casually putting it back on the bookshelf. Some old photos. The more indifferent I seemed, the more unsettled Victoria felt. What's his reaction? He saw this photo and he's not angry at all. Does he know Derek pursued Sophia? No, he definitely doesn't know. He must think this is just a normal class photo. This idiot. I looked at her and suddenly said, I know this boy. Victoria's pupils shrank violently. Mia also widened her mouth in surprise. Derek, I slowly uttered the name, satisfied to see Victoria's face turn pale. He pursued my wife fiercely back then, sending flowers, sending bags, blocking her at the dormitory building, and playing the guitar. He tried everything. I spoke with a relaxed tone, as if recalling something interesting. It's a pity my wife had no feelings for him at all. She always treated him like a buddy. Every word I said was like a small hammer, accurately hitting Victoria's most vulnerable spot. She never expected that I not only knew Derek, but also knew so much about what happened back then. She never expected that Derek, whom she regarded as her white moonlight, was just a pursuer Sophia had no feelings for. And what crushed her the most was that I, an outsider, actually knew all these secrets she thought she had. You, how do you know all this? Did Sophia tell you? Victoria's voice trembled. Impossible. How could Sophia tell her husband such a thing? Is she bragging? Bragging about how charming she was back then? Of course, she told me, I nodded. Frankly, we have no secrets between husband and wife. I looked at Victoria with a hint of appropriate pity in my eyes. Actually, Victoria, there's something I've always wondered about. He liked Sophia so much back then. Why did he suddenly run to confess to you and say he always saw you as his goddess and only used Sophia as a cover to get close to you? It's too like acting, isn't it? A boom sound. I felt like something exploded in Victoria's brain. She stared wide-eyed, fixedly at me. All the color drained from her face. How does he know? How does he know about Derek confessing to me? I haven't even told Sophia about this. Who? Who exactly is he? At that moment, Victoria's mental defenses completely collapsed. I certainly knew because just now when she flipped to the photo and mentally broke down, all the details of that year replayed in her mind like a movie, including how Derek, after being explicitly rejected by Sophia, turned around and confessed to Victoria, who had always had a good impression of him, to save face, even making up a clumsy excuse like, "You're the one I truly love." And Victoria, this very capable woman in the workplace, was so foolish as to believe it. She even regarded Sophia as a mistress who stole her men and hated her for so many years. Now in front of her, I was using a, just curious, tone to tear down this fig leaf she had always been so proud of. Nothing is more painful than this. I. Victoria's lips trembled, unable to say a word. The love she was proud of, the hatred she had persisted in for many years, at this moment had all become a joke. A one-woman show. She acted for herself, even forcing her best friend to be a supporting actress. Mia stood aside, completely dumbfounded. Oh my God, what a huge scoop. Victoria was cheated by a scumbag, and she has been misunderstanding Sophia. How does Marcus know all this? Is he really a god? I looked at Victoria, who was about to collapse, and felt no joy, but rather a little sorrow. A woman blinded by jealousy and resentment is truly pitiful and hateful. Dinner is ready. Come out and eat. I didn't continue to press her and turned to leave the study. I knew this farce was over. That dinner was even quieter than lunch. Victoria kept her head down the entire time, not saying a word and barely touching her food. The thoughts in her head were completely gone. A silent blank space. It seemed the shock had been too great. Her brain simply couldn't process anything. Mia glanced cautiously at me, then at Victoria, not knowing what to do. What to do? What to do? The atmosphere is so awkward. Victoria looks so pitiful. But Marcus is so awesome. Which side should I take? The little girl's thoughts had shifted from watching a show to being caught in a dilemma. After dinner, I silently cleared the table. Mia hesitated, then came over to help. Marcus, let me do the dishes. I have to do something, otherwise it's too awkward. No need. Go watch TV. Chat with Victoria. I gently refused. Mia scurried back to the living room as if granted a pardon. I washed the dishes alone in the kitchen, listening to the sounds from the living room. Mia tried to start a conversation with Victoria, but Victoria didn't respond. After a long time, I heard Victoria say in an almost lifeless voice, "I want to be alone for a while." Then I heard the guest room door close. I finished washing the dishes, dried my hands, and came out of the kitchen. I saw Mia sitting alone on the sofa hugging a pillow, looking pathetic. I walked over and sat down next to her. "Scared?" I asked. Mia jumped as if she'd been stepped on. "No." "Scared the heck out of me. When did he get here? Can he hear what I'm thinking again?" Her jumpy reaction made me chuckle. "Don't be nervous. I'm not going to eat you." I took an orange from the coffee table, peeled it, and handed her half. "Don't take today's events to heart." Mia took the orange, ate it in small bites, and didn't dare look at me. "Marcus." She hesitated for a long time before asking softly, "Do you know everything?" I looked at her, neither admitting nor denying, and simply asked, "What do you think?" Mia's face instantly paled. He admitted it. He really admitted it. He really can read minds. I almost couldn't help but laugh. This girl's imagination was truly top-notch. Some things don't need to be said. You can understand them by feeling them with your heart, I said in a deliberately profound tone. Mia nodded, looking like she understood but didn't quite. And her gaze towards me held even more awe. "Then, Victoria, she's just walked into a dead end. She needs time to get herself out," I said. "Don't worry about her, and don't try to persuade her. With something like this, other people's persuasion is useless." Mia nodded and stopped talking. The living room fell silent with only the voice of the news anchor echoing from the TV. After a while, Mia suddenly whispered, "Marcus, I'm sorry. I was a little surprised. Today, we shouldn't have acted like that at the mall. And in the study." Her voice grew softer and softer as she spoke, her head almost buried in the pillow. "I'm such an idiot following Victoria and making a fuss. Marcus and Sophia are so good to us, and we treated them like that. We're worthless." Hearing her heartfelt apology, I felt a warmth in my heart. This girl, although a little vain and gossipy, wasn't inherently bad. It's okay. It's all in the past. I patted her shoulder. "You guys are Sophia's best friends, which makes you my friends, too. It's normal for friends to have small disagreements." My words of generosity clearly made Mia feel even more guilty. Marcus is such a good person. I was even secretly complaining about him in my heart before. I deserved to die. The night was particularly long. I could feel that Victoria didn't sleep a wink in her room. And I also thought a lot about my marriage, about Sophia, and about myself. This suddenly appearing ability was like a magnifying glass, nakedly revealing the details of my life that I had ignored or deliberately concealed. The next morning, I got up as usual to make breakfast. Before long, Mia came out. She looked in good spirits and even volunteered to help me set the table. While the two of us were busy, Victoria's door opened. She came out, having not slept all night. Her complexion was terrible with heavy dark circles under her eyes. But she had changed out of her expensive silk robe and into a simple t-shirt and jeans. The elaborate makeup on her face was also gone, revealing a somewhat haggard bare face. She walked to the dining room, pulled out a chair, and sat down, not looking at me once. "I'm sorry," she suddenly spoke, her voice hoarse. Both Mia and I were stunned. "Yesterday, I was wrong." She lowered her head, looking at the empty plate in front of her. "I shouldn't have doubted you, and even more so shouldn't have spoken of Sophia behind her back." Her voice was devoid of yesterday's resentment and unwillingness, leaving only fatigue and listlessness. It seemed that she had figured out a lot of things overnight. After breakfast, Victoria suddenly stood up. I have some urgent business at the company and need to go back early. Mia, what about you? She looked at Mia. Mia was stunned for a moment, then immediately reacted. Ah, yes, I also have something at school. Let's go together. Victoria can't stand to be here anymore. Good. If she stayed any longer, I would suffocate. Mia's inner thoughts were as honest as ever. I nodded. Okay, then I'll take you to the station. No need, Victoria refused immediately. We can just take a taxi ourselves. It's too much trouble for you. The way she looked at me now was as if she were looking at a monster in human skin, eager to avoid me. I didn't insist any further. The two of them packed their luggage as quickly as possible, almost frantically leaving my house. I stood at the door, watching as they dragged their suitcases away in a flustered manner. The world was finally quiet. I breathed a long sigh of relief and collapsed on the sofa. Suddenly, a meow sounded in my ears. I opened my eyes and saw my orange cat, Tiger, squatting on the coffee table, staring at me with its round eyes, blinking. Tiger, are you tired, too? I reached out and scratched its chin. Tiger narrowed its eyes comfortably and made a purring sound. Then a soft, childlike voice with a hint of disdain sounded in my head. Stupid human. Finally sent those two noisy women away. Where's my can? Where's my salmon? Did you forget that you were supposed to give me extra food today? Servant, if you don't give me food, I'm going to use my claws to slap your stupid face. My hand froze in midair. I think I heard my cat's inner thoughts. I looked at the furry creature in front of me in disbelief. It was looking back at me with an "Are you stupid" look. What are you looking at? Hurry up and open the can. This cat's patience is limited. I shivered and jumped up from the sofa, rushed into the kitchen, frantically rummaged through the cabinets, and found a can of tuna, opened it, and poured it into its bowl. Tiger walked over unhurriedly with elegant cat steps, lowered its head, and began to eat voraciously. Humph, that's more like it. Consider yourself knowledgeable. I squatted beside it, watching Tiger eating heartily, feeling that my worldview had been changed again. So my superpower can not only understand what people are thinking, but also what cats are thinking. What exactly did I experience during my wife's business trip these past few days? 2 days later, Sophia came back from her business trip. She dragged her suitcase and gave me a big hug as soon as she entered the door. Honey, I'm back. I missed you so much. I hugged her, smelling the familiar scent of her hair, feeling at ease. How are Victoria and Mia? Are they okay? Didn't they cause you any trouble? Sophia asked as she changed her shoes. No, they were fine. They had some business and left early, I replied casually. Just then, I suddenly heard a familiar yet unfamiliar voice in my mind. It was Sophia's inner thoughts. Finally back. I'm exhausted. This project was too difficult to handle. Almost messed it up. Honey seems to have lost a little weight. Didn't he eat properly while I was away? Victoria sent me a long message yesterday saying she was sorry and that my husband is a good man, telling me to cherish him. It's a little strange. Didn't she always think that Marcus wasn't good enough for me? What stimulated her during this trip? My heart tightened. This ability, it actually works on Sophia, too. I looked at the unsuspecting Sophia and suddenly felt an unprecedented sense of panic. Facing my closest lover, would this ability become a double-edged sword? Will it make me see things I don't want to see? Hear secrets I don't want to hear? The most important thing between husband and wife is trust. And this ability is destroying the foundation of trust from the root because it allows me to skip the trust process and see the truth directly. But are some truths really what we need? That night, we lay in bed, Sophia leaning against my chest. Honey, I'm so lucky to have you, she whispered. Even though he's not rich or powerful and not particularly handsome, being with him just makes me feel safe. It's much more reassuring than being with someone like Derek, all show on the outside and nothing on the inside. Hearing the name Derek again, my heart skipped a beat. So in Sophia's mind, I and Derek had been compared. Even though I won, the process still made me uncomfortable. Sophia fell asleep. Her breathing was even and steady. But in my mind, her dreams flashed like a fast-forwarded movie. Suddenly, the scene changed. It was the university campus. A young Sophia was walking side by side with a tall, handsome boy on a tree-lined path. That boy was Derek. They were laughing, joking, the sunlight shining on their young faces. "Derek, wait for me." In her dream, Sophia was chasing after Derek's back, calling out happily. My heart sank. It felt like I'd been punched hard. I knew it was just a dream, but emotionally, I couldn't control it. Jealousy like a venomous snake coiled tightly around my heart. So, she had once loved someone else so passionately. I stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep all night. That ability to hear other people's thoughts, in that moment, was no longer my weapon, nor was it my toy. It had become a cruel curse. In the following days, I fell into unprecedented pain and conflict. I became suspicious, sensitive, and emotionally unstable. And Sophia gradually noticed that something was wrong with me. "Honey, what's wrong with you lately? You're always absent-minded," she finally couldn't help but ask me. "It's nothing. I'm just a bit busy with projects lately," I made a poor excuse. Finally, one weekend afternoon, the conflict erupted. That day, Sophia said she was going out for afternoon tea with a friend. I couldn't help but activate my superpower. I closed my eyes, concentrated, and tried to hear Sophia's conversation. I heard her voice, laughing. Then I heard a man's voice. That voice, low, pleasant, it was Derek's. "Sophia, you're still the same as before. You haven't changed at all. Come on. I'm someone's wife now, but you, the great designer, are becoming more and more charming. Stop teasing me. Seriously, seeing you so happy now, I'm really happy for you. Although there was a bit of regret back then. It's all in the past. Aren't we doing pretty well now? Best friends. Best friends." I opened my eyes suddenly, my chest heaving, blood rushing to my head. They were actually meeting behind my back. All reason at that moment was burned to ashes by the flames of jealousy. I grabbed my car keys and rushed out of the house. I drove to the cafe they mentioned. Through the huge floor-to-ceiling glass windows, I saw them. They were sitting by the window facing each other. Sophia was smiling, her eyebrows curved. It was a relaxed and radiant look I had never seen before. He sat across from her, his eyes gentle, gazing at her intently. And I was the intruder standing outside the painting in a dark corner, unimportant and ridiculous. My heart at that moment shattered into powder. The sky gradually darkened. The sound of the door lock turning. Sophia was back. "Honey, I'm home." I didn't respond. She sensed something was wrong. "What's wrong? Why aren't the lights on?" "Don't turn them on," I said, my voice hoarse as sandpaper. "Marcus, what's wrong with you? You're scaring me." "What's wrong with him? He's been acting strange since this afternoon." "Could it be? Does he know?" She knew. She knew what? That I knew about her meeting with Derek. I sat up on the sofa, staring intently at her in the dim light. "Who did you go see today?" I asked, enunciating each word. Sophia's body visibly stiffened. "He knows." "Who told him?" "Victoria?" "No way." "Mia?" "Definitely not." "Did he follow me?" Her inner thoughts were like sharp knives, stabbing into my heart. "I just had afternoon tea with a friend," she avoided my gaze, speaking softly. "Which friend?" I pressed closer. "Just a former classmate." "Which classmate?" "Derek, right." I directly tore away the fake cover-up. Sophia's face turned as white as a sheet. You investigated me," her voice was trembling. I laughed, a laugh that was more like crying. "I don't need to investigate. I know everything." I looked at her, saying each word clearly. "I know that at 2 o'clock this afternoon, you met Derek at Corner Time Cafe. I know you talked about your past and you even said you were best friends. I also know Victoria hates me because she thinks you stole her man. I also know that Mia thinks my coffee isn't good and even complains that my car is too old. I even know that our cat mentally curses me every day, calling me a stupid human. Like a madman, I shouted out all the secrets, all the pain, all the mental thoughts I had heard. Sophia was completely stunned. She looked at me like a monster, her eyes filled with fear. You. What nonsense are you talking about? Nonsense. I pointed to my head, shouting excitedly. I can freaking hear what you're thinking. I can hear everyone's thoughts. Do you understand? The living room fell into a deathly silence. After a long, long time, Sophia found her voice. Her voice was as cold as ice. Marcus, you're sick. You're really sick. After she finished speaking, she didn't look at me again, turned, and walked into the bedroom, slamming the door shut with a bang. The next morning, the bedroom door opened. Sophia walked out, her eyes red and swollen. She didn't look at me, but went straight into the walk-in closet and started packing her luggage. Are you leaving? I asked, my voice hoarse. She didn't answer. I want to see Derek because he's getting married soon and his fiancée is my business partner. We were just chatting about the past and discussing work. Victoria changed her attitude because she knew she had wronged me and she apologized to me. Mia is just a foodie girl who says whatever she thinks. You think of everyone as so bad. Marcus, you've become too terrible, too unfamiliar. She zipped up her suitcase. As she changed her shoes at the door, she paused without turning back. I don't know what you've been through, but Marcus, in a relationship, if there isn't even basic trust, then there's no point in continuing. Let's get divorced. After saying that, she opened the door and left without looking back. The moment the door closed, my world completely collapsed. I was wrong. I was terribly wrong. People's hearts cannot be tested, let alone spied upon. Because when you try to peer into the abyss is also gazing back at you. I collapsed to the ground and tears finally burst forth. The phone suddenly rang. It was Mia calling. Hello, Marcus. Something bad happened. Something happened to Sophia. In the hospital corridor, the lights were blindingly white. I sat on the bench, my mind blank. Sophia, because she was emotionally agitated, missed a step on the stairs and fell. The doctor said that she had fractured her lower leg and had a mild concussion. Thankfully, there was no life-threatening danger. The light in the operating room went off. Sophia was wheeled out. She was still unconscious, her face without a trace of color. I rushed over and grabbed her cold hand. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I repeated over and over, tears dripping onto the back of her hand. Just then, that familiar and damned voice rang out in my mind again, weak, intermittent. It was Sophia's inner voice. It hurts so much. Marcus, that idiot. Why does he still not understand? The divorce. I said it in anger. I just wanted him to go back to the way he used to be. That fool.